So let's just go through a quick picture of that. This is a simple loop, nothing complicated about it. You got the user on one end. The user goes through some sort of an omni-channel conversational interface, asks a question of any kind. That gets through, the knowledge base does its thing, comes back with an answer, comes out published. Okay. Now here's the thing that ensures that there are points where you can build trust in this journey. And the more you can show the ability to do that for users, you can enrich the experience along the way, the more you can create trust in the answer. Now, of course, at the heart of it, the answer has to be right. If the answer is not right, then it doesn't matter. But even with the right answer, sometimes users may not adopt it. And that's one of the big things with self-service nowadays. And this morning, Linda was referring to the session, and I was part of that as well. It was just really quite an intriguing conversation where several of you who were there talked about self-service as a big need and opportunity. And at the same time, the adoption of self-service hits a plateau, typically. In most organizations, I would say self-service has hit a plateau. And a lot of that plateauing has to do with the fact that there is that sense of assurance and trust that you want to generate may not be where it needs to be. And how can you improve that sense of assurance and trust so that people feel like after I'm done with my self-service journey and I got some answer, I'm not going to then say, hey, let me double check and just pick up the phone and call again. So we see this as kind of a way to enable these different attributes, the context, enriching the request, the intention being clarified by the tool, the relevance being established and confirmed through guidance, if needed, explainability brought out depending on the amount of information that can be made available to that particular user. And finally, personalizing that response back depending on the user, their profile, their situation, their sentiment. All of that collectively contributes to the trust that the user has in the system and the machine that is responding. This trust to us is where AI tools and AI technologies at this point are not up to mark, standalone AI tools. The assumption is, as long as I can throw some content into an AI engine, it'll find the interpolated answer, and that's going to do the job. Our experience working with you tells us otherwise. And we are seeing that in real details, right? We are seeing it in use cases. We are seeing it in benchmarks with your data and your questions. Understanding those questions better, understanding how to build trust in that journey is part of the innovation that we are putting together for you so that you can enable and configure that and ensure that you get trusted answers which are perceived as such. And then there is the feedback loop. This feedback loop is quite interesting because when you involve users in the co-creation or at least collaboration of, hey, you're listening to my feedback, that builds trust. And there's also an element of fun in it, right? If you can gamify it, service jobs are not easy. If you can gamify it, it's even more engaging. What's engaging is more trusted. It's like social media, right? Where I have a voice, I believe it. Like I said, doesn't take away from the fact that the underlying answer has to be right. That's true. We'll solve that problem too. But there is this concentric requirement around the core of correct answers, which is crucial to adoption and therefore business impact.